on lots of other channels, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, lots of those things. So that's good. That seems to be picking up steam, all those other channels, and the regular crowd keeps coming here. We've got, I see some of our, whoa, I almost knocked my thing over. Dale Steven is here. Jerry Barry. Hey, Doug, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. My tripod is a little unstable today. I keep knocking it over.
So oh boy,
I'm messing with the screen.
Well,
good. How are we doing today? Everything good?
Everything is good. Yeah,
Good.
My daughter is waking up way earlier, so I'm feeling you on the early morning tiredness.
Yep. Yep. I'm dealing with a new bout of that because of the puppies. They're causing just because you can't let puppies go the whole night. They're not able to go like without being let out. And you don't want them apparently to have an accident in their crate because that's a major setback for their training.
Okay.
So anyway, for a couple nights, Aaron was getting up at like 2:20, and then that didn't last. So now yesterday's plan was I would stay up late, and she would get up early. So didn't go to bed till like 11, which is kind of late for me. She got up at 6. So, and they made it through the night. That was good. But the problem is like she wakes up when I go to bed and I wake up when she wakes up. So it's like we're basically both just up at the ends.
All right. So you're like what, a week into fostering these?
Not even. We're not even a week. 4 days. Maybe our 4th day.
Has the likelihood of you keeping one or more of them increased or decreased over the last 4 days?
It's not at its all-time high. It peaked at like a day in when they were kind of shy still, and they were just really nice, and they hadn't had any accidents in the house. They weren't biting my hands all the time. Like now they just constantly bite. They weren't chewing stuff. They've started chewing anything wooden in the house, tables, corners of molding. Like they're just a disaster. So I'm less enthusiastic about them now. I still really like them, and so does everyone else. So I would say yes, the likelihood has gone up that some sort of keeping would happen. But I'm scared to say that because my daughter listens to the show, and
okay.
I must add that we are probably not going to keep them.
Does she watch the show too? I mean, because you can wink at me if you.
No, she doesn't watch it. No.
Well, good. Well, that's great.
Speaking of my family, Erin did not like yesterday's episode. She thought it was too intense.
Oh.
So Andrea out loud is saying, Doug, your audio is a little staticky. Interesting. I had not noticed that, but I will pay attention. Yeah. So yesterday's was too intense, and I actually had that same kind of vibe after we were done. I had that feeling like I was like, wow, we kind of went off there. Well, I kind of went off there on whatever it was. But we're learning lessons. I'm trying to find the right balance between vegan meat fanboy stuff and actual intelligent discussion. So we're working on it, but I think we've got a little bit more fun stuff on the slate for today.
Yeah. So your wife was giving you notes. My sister texted me last night at 10:30 p.m. with some notes herself, and she said that the Doug she knows would have never passed up on pizza bites, even at 6:45 in the morning or whatever time it was. She's like, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't know that guy.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Good for her. Well, I want that Doug back. We need you to do that for the show. We need you to get pizza bites, make them immediately for breakfast. Tell us how they were. That's the kind of content people are wanting here.
All right. We'll see what we can do.
All right. Dale Stevens also says, not sure if it's just me, but the sound is a little crackly. Maybe that's everybody. I don't know. I'm not hearing it. Teach Bike Right also is having the same problem. Let us know. Oh, they're saying on Doug's end. Okay, Doug, why don't you try just going out and coming back in?
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
Keep everybody entertained for me.
I will do that. All right. Doug is out. He'll be back in just a second. So I'm just going to begin here with what we've got to talk about. Let me know if you have any audio issues from me. But yeah, so the first one we've got, this is a report. It was on Hawaii TV News, I think yesterday. And the headline is that the most vegan-friendly U.S. state is Hawaii, which came as something of a surprise to me. It turned out when I looked deeper, this kind of research was done earlier this year, not yesterday. All right, Doug is back now. Let's hope that audio is improved.
Yeah, how we doing? Is that any better? Let us know. There's lots of people saying it's Doug.
Yeah, everyone's blaming Doug.
Everybody's blaming me, so we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Doug, I introduced that Hawaii is officially the most vegan-friendly state. We talked about vegan-friendly cities a few I don't know, weeks ago, and there were a bunch there. There's not a whole lot of overlap with the state thing. This state one is a somewhat less rigorous when it comes to the data. They basically looked at, I think they used Yelp and Happy Cow and maybe in the U.S. Census to get state populations, and they just figured out the number of fully vegan restaurants per capita, and that's how they ranked the states. So my first thought was that's an odd indication because I always considered Asheville, where I lived for a while and where you live very near there. That to me was one of the most vegan friendly cities I'd ever been in. Every single place I went to had some kind of like a tempeh Reuben or something. But as far as fully vegan restaurants, there were only maybe two. Even I think Rosetta's wasn't fully vegan. I think they had a cheese option you could get. As much as that seemed like a, type place worst vegan guy ever would go to. Like it was like they had all this propaganda, leaflets and things. Not all vegan, but like all this anti-government stuff.
They had all the vegan zines. Yeah,
yeah, which is cool. I'm not bashing them, but it definitely would attract the worst vegan guy ever, and attracted us too. It's a good place. But anyway, they had some sort of cheese option. So anyway, Asheville had that one or two vegan restaurants, and so not really a good indicator of how vegan friendly the city was. Anyway, also, so Hawaii, I guess, does well there, which is a little surprising to me because typically when I go to a seafood place and any kind of beach place, like it's really hard to get vegan options. Like and a seafood restaurant, my theory is that they consider the fish, like if you're someone who opens a fish restaurant, you sort of consider that to be like a healthy food. Maybe not everybody, but people just consider, fish, health food. No need to offer a vegan menu or a vegan item or vegetarian because there's fish. So I was thinking Hawaii would probably have similar attitude that you'd always find some kind of fish on the menus, but apparently not. They've got the most vegan restaurants per capita in the country. Oregon, a close second, and then a little further back are Rhode Island, Maryland, California, Nevada, Virginia, West Virginia, Massachusetts, and Vermont. West Virginia.
Have you ever been to? Yeah, have you ever been to Hawaii?
Never. No, I'd like to go there.
No, neither have I. I mean, this is probably completely off, but I think of it as being overwhelmingly touristy, right? Like obviously there are people who live there all the time, live there year round. There are people who are from there. There are people, I mean, obviously, like there's a lot of a rich history of people who live there, but right. But I think of it as being very tourist focused, and so I wonder if like a lot of the restaurants are I don't know, different like smoothie spots and things like that with the tropical fruit and just like geared towards.
Right. So they didn't specify here that the restaurant needs to be a full restaurant, has like a full dinner menu at least, or some certain minimum number of items. Maybe they did. If they did, we didn't find out about that methodology. But that's a good point. So you're calling foul on the Hawaii thing. You think Oregon should be number one. You think Hawaii's just smoothie shops.
Just straight up smoothie shops and surf
and
shops.
Poke bowls, right?
Poke bowls. Yeah, poke bowls. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. If anyone has been to Hawaii,
a tuna poke bowl, and then they wouldn't be a vegan restaurant.
Yeah, all right.
I guess.
I don't know. Okay. If anyone has been to Hawaii and can correct me, please do. But
Justin David Carl has been to Hawaii. He's a good follow on Instagram, by the way, a buddy of mine. Haven't been to Hawaii since going vegan. Definitely time to go back and crush some vegan food. Yeah, I think this is now a motivation to get there, as if we didn't have one already. I also think of Hawaii as like a pig roast place. Don't they always use pig stuff, pork? But what do I know? I have no idea.
All right. What about the least vegan friendly states?
Least vegan friendly. These are the very least vegan friendly state is Oklahoma. We had the Oklahoma City No Meat Athlete Running Group was one of our best for a while, right, and I actually went out there and visited them. They had a couple vegan restaurants I went to, but I guess that was rare. Mississippi, Alabama, Kansas, and Maine. So and Oklahoma way behind. That has a 1.52 index on this whatever this restaurant per capita thing is, whereas Maine only 4 slots better is 2.24. So I'm guessing that means they have 50% more vegan restaurants.
I want to know. Anyway, EKFI88 says was wondering where last place was and said probably mine. I want to know where she's from. Let's see if she's from one of these.
Yes, tell us. And I couldn't. I tried hard. I could not find the complete list of all 50, but not that I need that. By the way, the Vegan Review is where theveganreview.com is where I found the most details I could on this study. So anyway, Maryland being number 4 also came as a surprise to me because I lived there for a while. That's where I was when I started No Meat Athlete, and I only remember 2 vegan restaurants. That was 2009. So there obviously are more now, and there were probably more that I didn't know about. But it just, I don't know. I'm surprised. I think this is kind of a weird way to measure stuff when you take the whole state into account, because most people don't. You're not really in the whole state. You're just in one city, and you go to that. So weird thing. But we got to fill the news. We got to pack it with something.
We got a daily show here. We got to come up with anything.
Yeah. All right. Canada's becoming more vegan friendly, says the natural lion mushroom, which actually will give me reason to skip down to my third thing I want to get to today, which is that Denny's has renewed their plantain contract. I've never heard of plantain before, but that is the thing that allows, or I guess not allows, sort of enables Denny's in Canada to serve chicken nuggets and chicken things made out of plant-based meat across Canada, I think in all corporate restaurants and most or many of the participating franchises. So that came as kind of a just sign of the times to me. Denny's not a place I would think would be leading the vegan meat movement at all, kind of like Cracker Barrel. But I guess they've been doing it for a whole year before this.
When was the last time you went to a Denny's?
I don't. You know what? I went when I used to be in Toastmasters right before my book tour. I thought I better learn how to do some public speaking. So I went to Toastmasters, and that met every week in Denny's in Athens.
Really? Yeah. Oh my god!
It was like hilarious. There was like a separate room that they had arranged to get. But I don't remember if anyone ever got food. I think there was sort of the expectation that you would order like a drink or something, not alcohol, but just a soda or water or whatever. I guess not water. They wanted you to bring some sort of business to the restaurant. I don't know when the last time I actually ate in Denny's was. I have no idea. I can vaguely remember some sort of thing from when I was in college summer or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely used to hit up Denny's sometimes in high school. But it has been a long time. There's one here in town and in Black Mountain, which is a fairly small town. Most restaurants are closed by 9:30, 10 o'clock. And so if you wanted a late night bite, like everybody goes to Denny's. I've never been there, but I don't know. It would be nice if they had some vegan options so that, those like 1 or 2 times a year when I'm out late having some drinks or whatever and don't have kid duty, I can grab a pancake and a vegan Beyond sausage. I don't know.
Knowing the Doug Hay that I know, I'm guessing you are a huge Waffle House guy, much more than Denny's.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was a big Waffle House guy, both in high school and college. Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
I spent many nights and many mornings.
You were probably the guy who rallied the troops to go to Waffle House after everyone's had some drinks and stuff, and you're the guy who starts the movement and says, "We're going to Waffle House."
Oh, definitely. I mean, you never regret that. Never, no matter how. I mean, at that point, you could still smoke inside, so like you'd come home just smelling so terrible from all the cigarette smoke and and just. I don't know, but you never regret it. You never regret it at Waffle House.
No, because you know what? I did this as well. Probably the same Waffle House you were going to, because I was doing it in Harrisonburg in college, and you were there in high school, which I don't know if people know that. We were in Harrisonburg, Virginia during the same 4-year period, just separated by 4 years of school. And we were doing the same stuff, but never knew each other, obviously, then. So anyway, the good thing about Denny's is Waffle House is they didn't serve alcohol. So you'd go there after you'd had too much alcohol, and then you would, get hash browns chunked and covered and play the jukebox and get the waffles and, sober up for a while and then go to sleep. So you're right. That's why you didn't regret it. Exactly, except that it made you stay up late, but you were going to do that anyway. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm with you. You don't regret that. I would like Waffle House to get the new Eggo from Kellogg's, the new vegan Eggo, and the new vegan chicken thing.
That would be so good.
One good vegan item late night at Waffle House. That's my push. And if we can get that done with this show, if that could be the one thing we do, I'll be thrilled.
Okay, everybody at Waffle House, get them on it. The natural lion mushroom. This is pretty funny. So we were talking about how Denny's is covering or has the plant meat in Canada Denny's, but he's saying that he or she is saying that there's virtually no Denny's in Canada. I've seen maybe one in 37 years. So that's pretty funny.
That's funny. Well, that's why they have a contract with Plantain and not Beyond Meat or Impossible or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to Beyond stuff. There's some Beyond news. This is, I mean, it's not huge news. It's The Beat is reporting that here's where you can buy Beyond Meat's plant-based steak, which we've been hyping up a little while. That they're doing it with the carne asada and Taco Bell. They're having Beyond Steak in that. I don't know if it's exactly the same product. I think it's not. It's a different product. But the Beyond Meat steak tip sort of things, which Gardein honestly has had for years now, and they've been not that great, but fine. Doug had them in tacos the other day. That kind of product is coming out. It's now in Jewel Osco stores across the Midwest. I don't know what Jewel Osco is, but I'm guessing there's a lot of them in Oklahoma, Missouri, Alabama. What were the other worst? So they can get it, but everyone else can't right now. So
it appears to just be a grocery store.
Okay. Interesting name for a grocery store. I wonder where they got that. Just didn't know it existed. But good. Like to see that. Here's some more tantalizing news that comes with this. There are also Beyond Popcorn Chicken coming. And that's pretty exciting to me. I remember the day that I went as a kid to KFC drive-through line. I think it was KFC, and maybe it was called Kentucky Fried Chicken back then. And we got the popcorn chicken, and it was like so exciting to be getting it. It was kind of a letdown, actually. It wasn't that good, but I remember the idea of it was exciting. So I would definitely try some Beyond Popcorn Chicken. I don't think it's going to be healthy because it's going to be even more, surface area to be fried than other forms of plant-based chicken. So certainly will not be a healthy
popcorn? It's just like smaller nuggets.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just tiny chicken nuggets. And you get some pieces that are like literally just the fried stuff. They're not even, there's no chicken in it. It's just a little stray piece of, fried breadcrumbs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess that's good. Sure.
Yeah. Seems like maybe a younger Doug Hay would have loved popcorn chicken with his corn chips and things, but maybe now not anymore. Maybe you're beyond that now. They've also got Beyond Nuggets coming, which I don't know. I didn't know that there weren't Beyond Nuggets, but I guess I've never seen them, come to think of it. So that's coming. But then at the bottom of the Beat article, the title's here's where you can buy Beyond Meat's plant-based steak. They mentioned that earlier last year, August, Beyond Meat filed for like 107 trademarks for things like Beyond Milk, Beyond Tuna, Beyond where I'm losing them, Doug. Sorry. Do you know where the list is?
Oh no, I got distracted. I'm looking at something else.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Beyond Crab, Beyond Shrimp, Beyond Tuna, Beyond Eggs, Beyond Jerky, which we've seen come out now. And then there's also Beyond Bowls, Beyond Brunch, Beyond Deli. They don't mention Beyond Meals, which we said yesterday are coming to the UK, those ready meals. So they've got big plans, or at least they're covering the bases here and getting every trademark they can with Beyond in front of it, just in case. Probably the more likely scenario is that they're just kind of getting them. But anyway, interesting that they're considering making shrimp, tuna, crab, eggs, and milk. Milk is a big category, so that would be an interesting one to see if they move into that.
Yeah, definitely. So here's something kind of interesting. We were talking yesterday about whether it's fair to compare a meat burger and a Beyond burger and how that comparison works. I'm looking at the Beyond popcorn chicken packaging here, and it says really big. It says 50% less saturated fat. And I was trying to think of then what, because normally that might be like if they have a light version or something like that compared to the original.
Right.
But no, it's then a leading brand of traditional something chicken nuggets. I can shredded chicken. I can't breaded chicken nuggets.
Okay.
So they're comparing it to themselves to the regular full chicken version.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's a good thing because I think when it comes to meat, to me, the most clearly bad thing about meat is probably the saturated fat because of the link to heart disease, the very close link to heart disease. Not saying that all minimal amount of saturated fat is a horrible thing, but to get a large amount clearly is not good for us. So if we do want to make the case that these meats are better than those, then saturated fat is to me the place to do it. So and my problem yesterday was a little bit that I guess they made it seem like a Beyond beef burger, a Beyond meat burger, which has a decent amount of saturated fat from coconut oil added to it to give it the correct texture and stuff. That would be healthier than say, I don't know, a chicken breast or a piece of fish or like a real animal, because it will clearly have much more saturated fat. They didn't make that direct comparison, but they were kind of across the board saying they were healthier, and that's what I was just like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was for the serious show yesterday. This is more goofy stuff.
I do think we should do some myth busting here. What do you think? Should we bust a myth?
Bust a myth about soy?
Bust myth.
Since you've been on the
like
vegan meat topic a little bit. All right, so this is a good one. There we go. That needs to be a segment, and we need a song for it, and Doug needs to do that dance
Just
every
bust
time.
a myth.
Okay.
Just bust a myth. Okay.
There it is.
I let it go.
All right, this is from webwire.com. Myth busted. Processing soy does not lessen its nutritional benefits. So the myth would be that processing soy does lessen its nutritional benefits, and they're busting that myth. So better would be to say myth, processing soy does not lessen its nutritional benefits, and then put busted. But whatever, they can run their publication.
I think we need to do a segment that's just you correcting headlines or like critiquing headlines.
We should do that. And also writing styles.
And writing styles, yeah. And writers. When people say unusual words in 2 sentences in a row.
Yeah, we should do that. Okay, so this is WebWire. They're it's a scientist from Unilever, which you got to raise red flags there because that's a company obviously that's selling stuff. And Wageningen University. Probably didn't say that one right. But they work together to do some research. Again, so they analyze different processed soy products, including Our Vegetarian Butcher range and ice cream products. So I don't know who the Our is that they're talking about here. Is that Unilever's product? That's my guess. So here's Unilever doing research, or at least funding research on their own product. Yep. So you gotta be wary about that, of course. But what they decided, what they found was that in this one specific example, for example, I think, but they also found this a little bit more generally too, was that compared to whole soybeans, they were able to increase the protein digestibility score, which is a real thing. People do care about the protein digestibility score, and you can find it for all different things. Wheat products do particularly bad. Like seitan is like 50%. It's like half of that is actually absorbable, digestible by you. So even though seitan has a lot of protein, and people consider that a pretty decent plant-based protein source, it actually, it's not as good as it seems. But anyway, they said the initial soybean in their thing scored 85 on this protein digestibility, whereas the plant-based meat from the vegetarian butcher was at 88. So in that way, their processing has improved the protein digestibility. They don't really mention what bad comes of the processing, and certainly a lot does, right? When you strip away the fiber, that's the most obvious problem. And not that they take away all the fiber, probably, but a lot of it. And other just sort of micronutrients go away when you get rid of the hull and other things that are part of the whole food. This reminded me a little bit of, we wrote an article, Doug, for No Meat Athlete a while ago. Hey, Rock Creek Runner joined us. How'd that happen?
And my comments ended, so I'm seeing if I can view them on my computer.
Okay, cool, good. Anyway, so what I found there when doing some research about soy was that people they're concerned about these isoflavones in soy, these estrogen-like compounds, which there really is no need to be concerned about as far as I'm concerned. They're much more like selective. It's almost like your body has selective estrogen receptors, and it takes, when it is these isoflavones, it basically, when it would be a good thing to get more estrogen, it accepts it. When it wouldn't, it doesn't. And in some cases, it even has anti-estrogenic effects. So anyway, the point is, I'm not very worried about those things at all. I think they're probably a good thing. But people just assume that once you process soy, you'd get much more of these things. And that whatever is dangerous about soy would get worse and worse as you process it. It turns out a lot of these isoflavones are removed in the processing. So the processed soy actually has, if you are concerned about that sort of thing, actually has less of it than the whole original soybean does.
So when you're talking about processed soy, are we talking about like soy nuggets, or are we talking about tofu or something like that?
I mean, I think typically we're talking more about soy nuggets. We're talking about things where it is soy protein isolate, or where it's been extracted rather than, a lot has been done rather than just like simple soaking or something, which is more like tofu. So anyway, I mean, this doesn't tell us too much. It's not that shocking to me that the digestibility of the protein would go up. For example, like if you look at wheat, for example, when you grind it into a flour and you strip away some of it and you turn it into white flour, like it becomes way more immediately useful for your body, or usable for your body. Sure. And that's why people can gain weight if they eat a whole lot of white flour, because your body, just immediately processes it and takes it in, instead of having the fiber and moving some of it out and taking its time to, put it in the right places. I know I'm speaking in very broad terms, and honestly, I don't know much more about how it works on a, cellular level. But the point is, when you process something, it intensifies it. So it's not shocking to me that you'd have more protein digestibility than the original thing that requires your body to do more work.
Yep.
All right. So
way to bust that myth. I like it.
We have busted it. That myth has been smashed.
Busted. Smashed.
All right, let's go into this this last one, Doug. We'll talk about Dole. Dole has an interesting campaign, but we'll get into that later another day. This one I came across. This is not that new, but I was at Vegetarian Times site, which is owned by Outside now. I didn't realize that. They had an article that was published in September, so just a couple weeks ago, and they were asking if Bivalve vegan is the way to go, essentially. And I don't have that headline in front of me, but I did find on vegancalm.com the Bivalve vegan diet. What is it, and should you start? And that's from April of this year. So the idea here, and I do remember this from like years ago, people were talking about it, and then I don't know why recently it just popped up again. Maybe just because the plant-based movement has grown a lot. The idea here is that people are debating, and a certain sect of vegans are now eating bivalves. And I guess you can't really call them vegans anymore. You would now call them bivalve vegans. And what the bivalves are, the ones commonly that we know of as foods or as animals, are mussels, oysters, clams, and scallops. And so their argument here is that they do not have a central nervous system and therefore are not sentient, or sentient is however you like to say it, meaning they don't, feel things, specifically pain. And therefore, if your reason for being vegan is you don't want to cause any pain or suffering, then there's just as little reason to avoid bivalves as there is to avoid plants, because plants also have, they've demonstrated some responses to pain or I shouldn't say pain, but like, for example, some plants can sense when the vibrations when their leaves are being eaten by a caterpillar, and they can, put out a warning signal to other plants, or they'll somehow release some sort of bitter compounds that make their stuff taste not as good. So they have a response. I don't know if you can call that a nervous system. It seems that's sort of debated. What do we even mean by system? And then even the concept, the idea that these bivalves don't have a central nervous system, even that is kind of debated. People are saying maybe they don't have that, but they do have some sort of nervous system. There are morphine tests they've used, and they've shown that there is some change in response. But I don't know. I spent a bunch of the morning today reading different articles and, going into the yeast question. People always ask, why do vegans eat yeast? Because they seem like they're alive in the way that animals are. They eat stuff and they have a byproduct that comes off of it. They're a part of the fungus. I don't know if it's a fungus kingdom, but they're a fungus, and they're single celled. So they do not have a central nervous system. So yeast are considered fine. They're not in the animal kingdom, and the animal kingdom is where we draw the line. Bivalves, of course, are in that animal kingdom, but what this stuff is kind of saying, I didn't get into why they're classified. I couldn't find why they're classified as animals and not plants, these bivalves. But nonetheless, I found it very interesting. I actually couldn't come up with a conclusion to say, like, yes, this is totally, if all we care about is the suffering, then this is fine. It would be fine to eat them. I couldn't really find something that would allow me to say, like, yes, that's right or that's wrong. I don't know. Did you, Doug? I know you read some of this. Did you get anywhere?
So I was really quite fascinated by this. I had never heard of it before, and so it was totally new to me. You sent me the article this morning, and I was reading through it, and I was like, "What?" And my initial reaction was, "Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, at what point do you just stop associating vegan with a diet? Like, it could just be like a diet that focuses on clams and mussels and things like that, so as a protein source, like, just remove the word vegan and whatever, it could just be plant forward, like pescatarian or something." Right. But that was my initial reaction. But then the more digging I did, though.
I've lost Doug's voice.
Oh no,
that's okay. Not for long. You said the more digging I did,
okay,
then you went out.
Oh, tragedy averted. The more digging I did, the more, like, there's a real argument of why these could be closer to a plant than, say, a cow, right? And
right.
And I don't know. I kind of thought that was really interesting, and so I didn't come to any conclusions, but I did find this quote. This was from an article from vbur.org. And vegan philosopher Peter Singer, founding guru of the animal welfare movement in the 1970s, initially endorsed eating oysters as in his groundbreaking book, Animal Liberation, which, of course, we all know animal liberation was really kind of the beginning of it, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and to me, that's he's sort of the vegan purist. I'm not going to say he's worst vegan guy ever because he's done a ton of great things for this vegan movement. He made it happen. I mean, in many ways. And when people talk about animal ethics, that's like essential reading. I honestly have not read any Peter Singer, but I just know he's held up as that kind of hero. So the idea that he originally included oysters in what his version of I guess what he was calling a vegan diet,
right?
In that book, I mean, that is shocking to me. I cannot believe that, and I don't think most people know that. So anyway, I don't really know. I mean, I'm not going to start eating these things now, but I'm trying to think like why. What's the reason not to? Someone said they poop. I don't know who wrote that. This Marion wrote that, and I don't actually know if that's true or not. I would think it is, but I don't know. And does that make them mean they feel more somehow? I don't know. So yeah, I don't know where to go with this. I like I said, I started reading about yeast. I started seeing what was animal, what was plants, and like what it came down to for me was that like kind of like what you said, like if there weren't a name veganism, and we weren't worried about having a label that was you can now call yourself part of this club, you kind of just draw the line where you think where it seems like that's, and also let's also assume you don't want any animal to suffer because of the foods you're eating, or any creature to suffer because of the foods you're eating, animal or plant or whatever. Then you draw the line somewhere where it seems to you that it's right. And if you do the research on bivalves, it's, people argue. Some say there's something. Some say that mussels, and I think oysters, they can't even move in any way to respond to the environment. So people are therefore kind of from that inferring, then how could they possibly? I mean, the research would also help us tell us this in different ways. But they're saying if they can't move, what purpose would a pain mechanism in their body possibly serve? Like, what could they? Why would they have? So therefore, we can probably infer they do not feel any pain whatsoever. I don't know. And then I wondered, is it just about pain? Like, what if we could kill people without pain? That doesn't make it okay to do that because we're taking away the potential of their life, and we're saying their life itself has value.
Right.
But then, can we not extend that to plants? Because you kind of could extend that same thing to plants, right? These are beautiful things, and their life itself has some value, right? They're beautiful or not, they're living things. Obviously, now you get into religious stuff and all kinds of things. Anyway, so I don't know. I have no idea where this is. I'm not going to start eating these things, but it just made me think. And I think remaining open minded is so much better than just saying no matter what, I'm not listening this, not entertaining this thought. So anyway, so I did reach out to our friend Worst Vegan Guy Ever because I thought he might have something interesting to contribute here. He said he talked about that they have some response to the environment a little bit, and I said, yeah, but plants, they also kind of do that. And so then he thought for a while, he was confused, and he said, well, they're gross anyway, so who would want to eat that anyway? I don't know. So he just left it at that. And then I said, well, it's kind of up to, so I guess it's sort of like up to everyone to draw the line, like where they think. And he said, no, it's you have to be vegan. Everyone has to be vegan, and it's plants and animals, and that's it. There's no discussion. So that was his. It wasn't that helpful, but that's what he said.
Well, I'm glad to get his report.
I'm almost, except for like everyone has to be vegan. I don't know. It kind of comes down to what you think, and if they seem gross, then if eating them seems gross, then don't eat them. And if it doesn't seem gross, and I'm including their suffering in the gross part here, I don't know. So anyway, I have no answer.
Yeah, so I don't know. I like you. I'm not running out to the store to buy some scallops or some clams, but I mean, and that's I can't. I don't know. I'm not going to do it, but but it is a really interesting thought process to me. I was really fascinated by this, and like you, I kind of went down this rabbit hole of researching it. I think we would be doing a disservice to not finish the quote about Peter Singer, and that is that he later retracted that endorsement of eating oysters. So while it was in the original book, he later did retract it. So I don't know, just the whole thing is really interesting to me. It kind of, so it kind of has a parallel to the to the vegan whey protein, right? Where they've been able to use the molecular makeup of whey to create a vegan version of it. Of course, it's not at all the same thing, but it's kind of similar.
That has zero suffering. There's no suffering issue with that, right? That is none.
Zero suffering. Yeah, and it is completely 100% vegan. And this, oysters are part of the animal kingdom, so by definition, this is not a vegan food. So I guess there's no parallel at all. But it kind of is like what I'm going to is like, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to backpedal a little bit. My final thought, which I thought was going to be really like groundbreaking, is not coming together. So
okay. Well, here's what's kind of interesting to me. So this vegan calm, actually, I think did a really nice job. I've never heard of this site before, but when I saw it, I kind of expected that it was going to be like a 100% pro-vegan site and kind of they wouldn't entertain a good discussion about this. But they make a lot of really good points. They sort of leave it as like, kind of like we did, like, who can really say what's right? It's definitely not veganism, but is it okay? I don't know. Anyway, they did that. Then at the end, they list that like there are some benefits. Like there would be some reasons why people would want to do this. These things are high in protein, omega-3 fatty acids, heme iron, and zinc, all of which are like things that are not that easy to get on a plant-based diet. I mean, protein, I think we're fine. But the other ones, they're things that people consider supplementing with. And of course, people supplement with protein too, even if we may not need to do that much of that. But anyway, it's kind of interesting that like if someone were seriously questioning their nutrition and saying, I don't know if I can keep doing this because my doctors are telling me not to. And that's like, I guess this is a place you could go if you just were not okay with suffering. And this is like the one thing that allowed you to keep eating this way. And if you thought this didn't cause suffering. So I think that's sort of the most useful thing. Honestly, I kind of agree with Worst Vegan Guy Ever that these things are mostly gross. Like I don't think before I was vegan or vegetarian, I never came around to liking clams, oysters, or mussels, any of them. Like I think I probably tried each once, but I never did. Scallops I kind of liked, although they had a certain grossness to them that other foods didn't back then to me.
Are scallops included in this?
Yeah, scallops included. They were not. I think the mussels and the oysters are like they're in this category that has no movement ability. Okay. And I don't really understand what that means because don't oysters attach to stuff? No, oysters I guess get buried. Yeah, I mean I don't know anything about this, but yeah. So it seemed like the scallops and maybe the clams were a little bit less okay to eat in this argument because they can move and they can have that response to environments at least. Whereas these other ones, people were saying if they can't move, then they almost certainly have no pain mechanism because what purpose would that serve? So anyway, fascinating to me, but not gonna cause me to change my diet anytime soon. But still, interesting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anytime someone can come with a challenge that is, I don't know, kind of legit. Like this feels way more legit than like, the cavemen used to eat meat or something. I don't know. I love going that thought process.
It does, and apparently also they're fairly sustainable source of food. If there are farms of these, my guess is as soon as people started doing it in mass amounts, it wouldn't be anymore. But anyway, however it's done now is sustainable. Yeah. So there you go. If you don't want to be vegan anymore, you can be a Bivalve vegan.
But just call it a bivaletarian or something. Just remove the word vegan. Like that.
You're right.
That's what kills me.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Well, this was a very different show from yesterday's.
It was. Yep.
We did get into the serious discussion of is Bivalve veganism legit?
I know, and we were busting myths left and right. It was great.
Yeah.
I abandoned an argument mid argument.
Yes, right. And I was worried you were going to conclude that you were not being vegan anymore. You were going to go down the Bivalve vegan route.
Yeah, but maybe.
Thankfully, you abandoned it.
All right.
Well, good enough. Thanks everyone for coming out. Appreciate the comments today, and we will be back on Friday. Fridays are always fun show, so we'll pack some fun stuff into that one as well.
Absolutely. All right, everybody.
Enjoy your Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.